Coming to paperback and e-readers this April, ISIS, the main event. It's carnage inside of a steel cage as the goddess next door steps in the squared circle against the beast from the falls in this all-new ISIS series adventure. Get ISIS, the main event, this April. In a recent article, Meghan Markle's father accuses his daughter of destroying the royal family. And I'm going to have to disagree on the whole argument of Meghan Markle destroying the royal family, but I will say that she is on the road to destroying her marriage to Prince Harry. And the reason why she's on the road to destroying her marriage with Prince Harry is because your Meghan Markle has not learned any lessons from the failure of her previous marriage and is getting ready to make the exact same mistakes that she made with her first husband. Now, your Meghan Markle's big problem is that she's trying to follow the feminist model for marriage, and that model will never work because the big problem with Meghan Markle is that she doesn't know how to submit to her husband, and she does not know how to submit to his authority. Now, in a marriage, a woman is supposed to play the role of the helpmeet and the support to her husband, and she is supposed to submit to his leadership and authority. However, a woman can only submit to the leadership and authority of a man she respects, and it's clear to me that your Meghan Markle has no respect for your Prince Harry, just like she had no respect for her husband. Because when a woman has respect for her husband, she will submit to his leadership and authority because she understands that is the decision that she decided to commit to when she decided to get involved with this man. And if she understands her role under God's natural order, she will have no problem submitting to her husband because she knows that her husband has the direct connection to God and that her husband will do what is right for her and will do what is right for the family because he is under God's leadership and under God's authority. Unfortunately, your Meghan Markle does not believe in the Most High living God, nor does she want to follow God's natural order. No, what your Meghan Markle wants to follow is the white supremacy and the concept of feminism. And under those two tenets of white supremacy, what your Meghan Markle wants to do is she wants to remain an independent woman while she remains married to your Prince Harry. Now, those two concepts are diametrically opposed to one another. You cannot be independent and on your own and still be part of a marriage. However, your Meghan Markle, like many strong, independent black women, believes that she can go out here and be her own woman while remaining married to your Prince Harry. And this is why the whole Megxit controversy wound up transpiring, because your Meghan Markle just does not want to submit to the authority of her husband, nor does she want to submit to the authority of the crown. And this is what your Meghan Markle actually married into when she decided to commit to Prince Harry. She agreed to submit to the authority of her husband, Prince Harry, and she agreed to submit to the authority of the royal family and the crown. But what your Meghan Markle thought she could do is try to negotiate a deal where she could remain independent, and that's just not going to happen with a patriarchal order like the royal family. Because with the royal family, the only thing that a woman can do is submit to the authority of the crown, or she's not going to have a place in their order. And that order, again, is patterned right after God's natural order in some ways. And again, it is all about submission for the woman. Unfortunately, your Meghan Markle grew up in a single mother household and learned the whole idea of being this strong, independent black woman. And she is going to have problems even after this Megxit because her whole frame of thinking is all about being this strong, independent black woman and being able to make her own money. And this was something that she didn't have to do. And if she had read her Bible and understood the role of the helpmeet and the support, she would really start to understand how blessed she truly was. Because your Meghan Markle was truly in an extremely blessed position, just like Eve was in a blessed position during the beginning of time. All your Eve had to do was submit to Adam and do as she was told, but instead she decided to listen to the serpent, and she wanted to listen to the serpent because she wanted to know like God. And what the big problem with your Meghan Markle is that just like Eve, she thinks that she can know like God. She thinks she knows better than God, and she doesn't want to submit to the King of Kings and Lord of Lords of white men because she thinks she is smarter than the King of Kings and Lord of Lords of white men. She thinks she is better than the King of Kings and Lord of Lords of white men, and she thinks she's superior to the King of Kings and Lord of Lords of white men. And because she thinks she knows better than he does, is smarter than he is, and superior to him, she believes that by leaving the royal family, she is going to be in a far better position because she will have her strength and independence to go make her own money. But what she doesn't understand is, like Eve in the Garden of Eden, she was actually in a better position because Eve in the Garden of Eden was covered by her husband, and they were both covered by the glory of the Most High living God. And even though they were naked, they were covered by the Most High, and all of their needs were going to be provided by the Most High living God. So he was going to provide for all of their needs in that garden, and they would have had everything they could have possibly wanted. And the same thing for your Meghan Markle, who practically was in a paradise with the King of Kings and Lord of Lords of white men. She was practically going to get all of her economic needs met and get all of her personal needs met because under the royal grant, she was going to have access to the very best businesses in the United Kingdom and all over the world, and she was going to have access to the very best medical care, the very best residence, and the very best in everything. However, your Meghan Markle, thinking that she could know better than the crown, better than her husband, the King of Kings and Lord of Lords of white men, and thinking that she knew better than the royal family, thinks that she can do better than what was provided for her by the monarchy, which was paid for by the taxes of the citizens of the United Kingdom. She thought, oh, I can get better by going out here on my own. But what's going to happen to your Meghan Markle is, just like Eve, she's going to be cast out of a paradise, and she's going to be left wandering in the wilderness, and actually she is on a journey into darkness. Because when you walk away from God's natural order and start thinking you can do better than God's natural order, then what's going to happen is you are going to wind up wandering in darkness, and when you wander in darkness, you are going to wind up becoming spiritually lost. And the big problem with your Meghan Markle is that she is a spiritually lost woman, and as a spiritually lost woman, she cannot appreciate the blessings of the Most High Living God. And because she cannot appreciate the blessings of the Most High Living God, this is why she wanted to exit the royal family, and this is why she thinks that she can do better by herself on her own, not understanding that she has left herself and her family to a vulnerable position, the same position that your Prince Harry is so terrified of happening, of him and his wife winding up like his mother. She has now started setting up the road to this actually happening because, again, under the protections of the royal family and the covering of security of the royal family, none of this could actually happen to him where some tragedy could happen because he would have the security of the Royal Air Force and the Royal Military to protect him, and he would have had that protection of the Royal Air Force and the military to protect him when he had stayed at the royal palace. But because your strong, independent black female, Meghan Markle, believed that she knew better than Prince Harry, and your Prince Harry not being a leader and leading his wife, she has misled him and has got him out in this wilderness thinking they can do better on their own when they could have had the protections of the kingdom, and that protection could have prevented any sort of tragedy from transpiring because the royal family, again, is protected by the Royal Military, the Royal Army, the Royal Navy, the Royal Air Force, and the Royal Marines, and they get the very best in security to protect them. But our sad, tragic irony is, by following Meghan Markle's lead, they are on the road to the same tragedy that happened to Harry's mother, Princess Diana, because once you leave the royal family and you leave the protections of the royal family, what happens is it leaves you vulnerable to those paparazzi that sadly cost Princess Diana her life. Because inside of the royal palace is the protections of, again, that royal military. And again, your Meghan Markle, because she does not understand the concept of submission, wound up taking Prince Harry out of the secure environment that would have protected him in the same way God wanted to protect Adam and Eve from sin in the Garden of Eden. And they didn't, and the whole thing is your Prince Harry doesn't understand, again, that the big problem with him is he doesn't understand God's natural order, and he does not understand how a man is supposed to lead his wife, and he does not understand how a man is supposed to be the head over his wife. Unfortunately, because your Prince Harry wants to be led by the woman, what is happening now is she is leading him into darkness, and she's leading him into darkness because she believes that she knows better than Prince Harry. She believes she knows better than the royal family. She believes she knows better than the Most High Living God. And she believes that she is smarter than all of these people and the Most High Living God. And this is the hubris of many of your strong, independent black women, is that they think their way is going to be this so-called better way. Unfortunately, the Most High Living God always sends these women down to humility because usually their strong, independent approach usually leads to them winding up in poverty and misery and with a net worth of $5 or less because these women want to go outside of the order of God, and because they go outside of the order of God and join up with white supremacy and feminism, usually this is why these women wind up with no money and no husband, because they wind up not following that order as created by the Most High Living God. And because they don't follow that order, this is why their lives wind up becoming chaotic. And that chaos is getting ready to start for your Prince Harry, because after he exits and loses his royal title and loses the protections of the royal family, he is going to find out how dysfunctional his life can become under the authority of the matriarchal order of the strong, independent black woman, Meghan Markle, who has no idea on what direction she wants to take his life and no idea where she wants to take her life. And again, she calls the royal family's whole way of making a living welfare, but what she doesn't understand was that welfare, that she, as she calls it, was giving her an opportunity to live one of the best lives possible, and practically was going to give her an opportunity to live in paradise for the rest of her life, where she wouldn't have to work, just like Adam and Eve didn't have to do much work, because the labors that the Most High was going to give them were next to nothing. They were very, very easy when you compare the labors they had to take when they wound up living in sin. And this is what your Meghan Markle doesn't understand as related to what she has done. She has made the life of her husband that much harder with her sin in trying to be the leader in the family, and she has made the labors that much harder and the pains that much harder for Prince Harry, because again, he was living in paradise in the royal palace. He was living in paradise with the royal grant and the businesses of the royal grant, which have the top businesses, and there was no need to have that much money because all of their needs were being taken care of in the practical Eden of Buckingham Palace. But because this princess couldn't appreciate the paradise that she was offered, what happened was she turned a prince into a pauper, and she destroyed a royal right in front of us because she wanted to be this strong, independent black woman. And what your Prince Harry is going to find when he winds up leaving the palace is this strong, independent black woman is going to show her true colors and finally tell him what many other black men get told, that they are strong, independent, don't need no man, and they can do bad all by themselves. And what she is going to do is make another marriage go bad all by herself. If you'd like to see me make more classic videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon, my PayPal, or my Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. And if you want to learn why so many black women like Meghan Markle wind up single, you can pick up my ebook, Why 70% of Black Women Are Single, on Amazon.com in Kindle format. You can also find it on Smashwords and the iBookstore. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Coming to paperback and e-readers this March, John Haynes, the man with nothing to lose. The man who rules the world runs into the irresistible force of a man with nothing to lose in this action-packed, all-new John Haynes series adventure. Get the regular and variant cover editions of John Haynes, the man with nothing to lose this